Well, for the latest from Moscow, we cross live to Jake Cordell, reporter for the Moscow Times. He's standing by for us. Jake, Putin's speech was nearly an hour long. Break down what he said for us.
Yeah, it was very long. It was very emotional, passionate, angry in places, as Vladimir Putin often is when he talks about Ukraine. This is an issue close to his heart. It was a revisionist history lesson in places. He basically took us through 2 centuries of the relationship between Russia and Ukraine, many facts that he presented discredited and bogus, historians say. The idea being to present Ukraine as a state created by Russia, therefore its fate and its future hangs in Moscow's hands. And then we finally arrived at the key message, which we've been building up to all day here in Moscow, is that Russia is going to recognize the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics. Now that effectively kills the Minsk agreements, which was a ceasefire deal struck in 2015 to end the worst of the fighting after Moscow annexed Crimea and the civil war broke out in eastern Ukraine.
Well, speaking of the Minsk agreements and of what Putin said earlier this evening, he said he was going to sign friendship and aid agreements with the separatist leaders in eastern Ukraine. How could that change the conflict on the ground there?
Yeah, it's very unclear what the next steps from Moscow are going to be. This is just a recognition of their independence, so it's not quite an annexation. They're not bringing them into Russia. But the question is, how much will they be integrated? And will Russia deploy forces, troops, military equipment into these regions? If it does, that could be a very, very big escalation. That could even violate what the US and West have said would be the threshold for introducing sanctions. We've already had statements from the UK, the US, the EU saying they will be introducing sanctions on Russia over this decision. The question is whether, from Moscow's point of view, is this the end from their perspective? Have they got what they wanted? Remember, they went into this saying they wanted a veto on NATO expansion into Ukraine. So this doesn't really answer that question. Will they be satisfied and be willing to call back some troops? Or is this just the start of a possibly much more serious escalation in the region?
All right, Jake Cordell reporting live from Moscow. Thanks for that update.